Thank you, Jamie, and thank fellow Rotarians. I've been to a lot of Rotary meetings over the last 20 plus years, from Fond du Lac to Mayville, where I'm a Paul Harris Fellow. I need my attendance ticket punched, by the way. And what we always talk about, I think the most interesting topics are what is important to the local community. What's going on in Fond du Lac? What's going on in Mayville? I'm going to talk about the city of Milwaukee. Why? Milwaukee is so important to the entire state of Wisconsin. There's this old saying, as Milwaukee goes, so goes the state. I have spent a lot of time in the city of Milwaukee, in the inner city, just north of here, Harambe, South Side, down on Greenfield Avenue, down on Lincoln Avenue. And my political people on our staff, they say, Tim, why are you spending so much time down there? You're not going to get the votes. And I say, you know what? This is a precursor as to how I am going to govern. I want to be a governor for everybody in Wisconsin, from Superior to the inner city in Milwaukee. And I've spent time there, a lot of time there. And I'll be there again for the election day, and I will be there certainly as governor. Now, I have a great danger radar, as I say. I've had it since I was a young boy, and it was refined on my 12 years in the Army as an airborne ranger. I'm here to tell you, I've gone into the toughest neighborhoods in Milwaukee, and my danger radar has never gone off once. In fact, just the opposite. I get people that come out and they're like, this is unbelievable. I've never seen any politician on this street. I've never seen any candidate on this street. And you're running, they say, you're running for governor? And you're here in this neighborhood? I'm like, absolutely. And we talked for 10 or 15 minutes, and they pour out their frustration. Their frustration with all the problems. They feel neglected. There's been a saying in Republican politics for a long time. They say Milwaukee is the problem. I say Milwaukee is not the problem. Milwaukee has a problem, and I'm going to fix it. I've been a bold leader my entire life. Story. Tommy started something new yesterday. Barbara goes everywhere with me on the campaign trail. And no, I'm not going to have you speak, honey. She's already shaking her head. And she's great to have with me. Quality time is when she drives me, and we get just the two of us in the truck together for a little bit. But Tommy said, hey, Barbara, come on up here and speak. And he put Barbara on the spot twice yesterday. She did a phenomenal job. I'm not going to put her on the spot right now. But I'm telling you, if I get under the weather like your president today, you could always send Barbara as a surrogate for me. But I also think she'll be one heck of a great first lady of Wisconsin. So anyhow, Tommy bridged the partisan divide. I will work with the Democratic mayor, Cavalier Johnson, the Democratic county executive, David Crowley, the Fire and Police Commission, the people in MPS. I'll work with anybody to solve this problem. And I'm not just some candidate up here talking about doing it. I've done it my entire life. I've worked with all soldiers. I've worked with all people at Michels Corporation, all people in business to get things done. That's how you become successful in life. That's how I attained the rank of major. That's how I was hand-selected to lead the honor guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's how we grew our business from a few hundred employees when our dad died 25 years ago to over 8,000 today. I know how to get things done. I will never compromise my conservative principles, but I will work with anybody to make Milwaukee the best city that it possibly can be, because no state in the union can be as great as it can be if its biggest city doesn't have its problems resolved. What are those problems? This isn't my opinion, what the problems are in Milwaukee. I hear it from business leaders everywhere I go. I hear it from restaurant owners. I hear it from manufacturing companies. Everybody is so fearful of the level of crime that is happening right here in Milwaukee. You know, crime went down from 30 years ago until 2 years ago across America. I think it's because of technology, cameras everywhere, forensic testing, DNA testing. But in the last 2 years, there's been a tremendous spike in crime across America and right here in Wisconsin. And I do believe that's a byproduct of this defund the police movement. The cultural movement that we had where less cops is better, I don't agree with that. Or where cops are bad, I certainly don't agree with that. Let me tell you, Barbara's brother, he's in law enforcement. He's a cop. He tells me the stories. He said, you know, Tim, I used to go to my backyard neighborhood barbecue. And all my neighbors would be like, hey, Greg, come on in, Greg, have a beer. We back the blue. Tell us some stories. He said 2 summers ago, everything changed. He'd go to those same backyard neighborhood barbecues. neighbors would be like, hey, Greg, come on in, but we're not so sure we're supposed to like cops anymore. How do we get to this crazy spot? I think we got there through bad leadership. I do believe it was intentional. That is going to flip on Inauguration Day. I'm going to back the blue. I'm going to stand with the men and women of law enforcement. I have received the endorsement of numerous law enforcement agencies, and they tell me, Tim, you know what? Everybody in the field, everybody on patrol just doesn't feel like the people in Madison nor the governor have our back. I am going to back the blue. I am going to stand with the men and women of law enforcement. And these catch and release DAs that are letting these bad guys out on the street the next day, like Darrell Brooks, I'm going to get rid of them. We're going to replace them. We will have rule of law once again in the state of Wisconsin. It is what the hard work. And I'm going to spend a lot of time in the inner city fixing that myself. I will go on ride-alongs. I will talk to the men and women in law enforcement on the Milwaukee Police Department. And they're going to know right from the top, I want you to do your job. I want you to do what you're trained to do. You need to have respect for others. You need to have respect for the communities that you're patrolling in. But know that 99% of the people in these neighborhoods, they do want rule of law. They do want crime to go down. When I sat on those front porches in Harambe or on the south side, that's what people talked about. Like, Governor, Tim, if you're going to be governor, if you could do something about the crime, hallelujah, I am all with you. This used to be a good neighborhood back in the day, but now crime is running rampant, and the cars are being stolen like crazy. We had a press conference last Thursday. I received the endorsement of the Milwaukee Firefighters Association. We were on this side of the street. All the TV cameras were there just like that, plus some print media, and right across the street, there was a Kia parked. These guys were really skilled at what they do, and I don't mean that in a complimentary sort of way. I mean it in a concerning sort of way. They pulled up right in between with an SUV, jumped out, somehow smashed the window. We didn't even hear the window smash. Guy jumped in, hot-wired it. The security footage showed that he was able to back the car up, but then somehow it stalled out, and he ran off. That's how bold the criminals are in Milwaukee right now. And they did a documentary series on the Kia boys. They said, why do you guys steal these cars? They said, because nothing's going to happen to us. We're going to get away with it. And that is a derivative of the problem that we have with crime in Milwaukee and throughout the state of Wisconsin. It's what I talked about when I talked about the byproduct of the defund the police movement. The bad guys are emboldened, and they think they're going to get away with it. That is going to change on Inauguration Day. I will back the blue, and we will get crime down. That's good for business leaders in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. That's good for communities in Milwaukee. That's good for everybody in the state because crime creeps. It may be bad in Milwaukee, but people see it up in Grafton. They see it in Germantown. They see it out in Economowoc, Muskego, Mugwanago, Caledonia. We are going to stop it right here, and everybody's going to know that there's a new sheriff in town, if you will, and it's not going to be tolerated anymore. It's what the people of Milwaukee and Wisconsin want. I hear it everywhere I go. The second thing I'm going to do, the second thing I hear everywhere I go, is education. I went to public school, hour north of here at Lomira, K through 12. Works for me, but that was over 40 years ago. Education in Wisconsin, especially in MPS, continues to decline. Not my opinion again. That's what the test scores show. The state education test is called the forward test. The scores continue to go down. The national education test is called NAEP. The scores continue to go down. And what's really remarkable, it continues to go down under Governor Evers' leadership. If there's one thing that he should be good at, it's education. He's been in education his entire life, and I have a lot of respect for school teachers. But he's been the head of education for the past 15 years. Deputy superintendent, now superintendent of DPI, and now governor, and the scores continue to go down. We need to do something radically different. Why? Because we are failing. We are failing the future leaders of Milwaukee, the future leaders of Wisconsin, the future leaders of construction companies, the future leaders of restaurants, the future leaders of commercial real estate companies, the future leaders of schools, the future leaders of nonpartisans. If you can't read, you have no chance at being successful in life. And there's 9 schools within shouting distance of here where the reading comprehension score is 0. If you can't read, you have 0 chance at being able to get a job and keep a job. If you can't read, you have 0 chance of being a productive member of society, and you are going to end up out on the streets. I'm going to tell you one quick heartbreaking story here at the end. Barbara and I met with a grandmother about 2.5 months ago now, baby Kiwan. We walked in and man, what a cute baby boy. We're like, oh, he's so cute. And then we heard the tragic story. Baby Kiwan was, when he was 5 weeks old, he was 5 months old when we met him. When he was 5 weeks old, his mother was tragically murdered just north of here, shot 26 times. Baby Kiwan is being raised today by his grandmother. She's probably 38 years old. Baby Kiwan has so many strikes against him to be successful in life. 1, his mother's gone. 2, there's no father there. 3, the school where he is going to go to school, the reading comprehension score at that school is 0. It moved Barbara and me. It's moving me right now. I'm going to be there for the baby Kiwans. Thousands of baby boys and the thousands of baby girls that are being failed today by government. We can do better. We will do better. As governor, I will be a governor for the entire state of Wisconsin. We will get crime down. We will get education up here in Milwaukee, and life will be better for everybody, not just the baby Kiwans in the inner city, but everybody in the Milwaukee metro area and everybody in the state of Wisconsin. That is why I'm running for governor. I don't have to do this, but I've served my entire life. Barbara and I are very passionate about serving the people of Wisconsin. I'd be humbled and honored to lead this state for 4 years. I have a proven track record of success. I guarantee you we are going to make things better here in Wisconsin. We're going to do massive reforms. We're going to do massive tax reform. We're going to do education reform. We're going to get crime down. We are going to see a better Wisconsin and a better Milwaukee. Thank you for what you do for this Milwaukee community. I look forward to working with you to make Milwaukee the best that it can be.